of Matter, and this is a special episode for the people who have Saturn in Pisces, Saturn return. And this is a Saturn day, Saturn hour, so it's very fitting for me to discuss this. The ascendant is Mercury ruled with Mercury in the sixth degree of Taurus, and Mercury is here in the ninth house. Saturn is in the seventh house for this one. Sixth Placidus, if you're following Placidus, in 6 degrees and sextiling this Mercury. So, it's Saturn day, Saturn hour. So Saturn is very accentuated. Yet Saturn trying sextiles Mercury, and like this could actually be. You know what? Let's do one more thing, and I'm going to call in Saturn and ask for Saturn's blessing to bring us the good information and the relevant teaching that will be delivered and invite the viewers that are genuinely interested in being developing a sense of being responsible from a more eased place and perhaps balance the nervous system here with Mercury. And I'm going to ask also for the help of Mercury, which is the ruler of the ascendant, to facilitate and assist in delivering trustworthy information. So Mercury has been in the sixth, Saturn has actually been in the seventh in Pisces. There is a sextile between them. The moon is in 8th degree of Gemini, so it's only 2 degrees away from Aldebaran, and it is it is separating from a square with the Saturn. No, it's separating from a square with the Saturn, so the moon is traditionally void of course. And so what I'm relying on here is actually the Saturn day, Saturn hour, Saturn accentuated, and here the sextile to Mercury, which is the ruler of the ascendant. So I'm kind of delivering that through Mercury rather than through the moon. And the moon is in Mercury's sign. So those are the astrological beings that I call to assist this. And we've gathered here today to bring you a little bit of tips for the people who go through Saturn return and Saturn in Pisces. So, although Saturn has entered Pisces last January, I believe, or already March, or last March, I found this timely to bring this episode today as I do have certain things that I can share. So, for starters, Saturn is ruling the feet, and Pisces is ruling the feet, and Saturn rules skin, nails, hair, and bones. So, and of course, as ruler of Aquarius, then also the nervous system, so the electricity around the nervous system. Mercury rules the toes, so correcting the space between our toes, doing yoga postures that align the bone structure of the feet is very much advised throughout the whole transit. Okay, so you can learn how to do this and perform ways that will assist in basically restructuring your feet. Any type of medical, especially medical pedicure, okay, both being Piscean, okay, medical pedicure is very much advised because we tend to the skin of the feet and we tend to the nails. This is the time to take a look at whatever is going on, whether it's athlete's foot, whether it's hallux valgus like mine, whether it's those nails that begin to creep into the skin. And there's a way to treat that holistically. So it's about tending to it in the physical, as well as meditating on our feet, connecting with our feet, meditating on our feet. This is something that's going to serve you throughout the entire process. It's good for everyone with Saturn in Pisces in general. If it's Saturn return for you, you might be receiving um, even more specific Now, if it is more like your sixth house or your first house, you may experience that as a physical issue. Okay, maybe you feel pain, maybe there's some aesthetic thing you want to treat, and if it is more like the 12th house, then tending to that, while you might not think that there's anything wrong, tending to your feet, doing your pedicure, your yoga, and so on and so. Or feet baths, salt feet baths is great because Saturn is also minerals and rocks. So salt baths is wonderful for this, for the feet and for the body in general. Um, and if it is the 12th house, you will see how this affects if Saturn rules the 12th house, or if Pisces is in the 12th house and you're having Saturn return, then you will see how this affects you mentally. There can be, as with any body mind practice, there can be, and sometimes it's even likely to be, involvement of all types of emotions, purging. Um, there is, remember, our nervous system is throughout our entire body, our cells, and we call for cell rejuvenation also, we are calling to release certain memories, certain things that are waiting on us. So you want to be very tender with yourself. You want to make sure that as you tend to body mind work, that you are at least acquainted with this framework of work. As a holistic health practitioner, I'm always very supportive of things you can do yourself without being dependent on a practitioner. As this contributes to your sovereignty, Saturn also calls in to take responsibility. And Pisces is ruled traditionally by Jupiter. Modernly, it's ruled by Neptune, and I don't care how enraged you are. I think it's actually good to tell people that um, with Saturn being in Pisces, you don't want to delegate all the responsibility over your feet structures, your nails, your skin, which is basically the base chakra from which everything is the foundation on which you stand, to a doctor, a healer, a shaman, a holistic health practitioner, an astrologer, and whatnot. You want to be able to practice things yourself, to try things yourself, to be tender with yourself, and because eventually nobody knows the patient better than the patient. Okay, nobody knows you better than you. So while you're tending to this, you will know. Okay, think about the heels of your feet. Um, Try to find food that is good for the heels of your feet, and I spoke about it in my Do It by Feet video. And I will touch on charity in this video as I continue. So if you already watched Do It by Feet, then bear with me, and I will get to the charity part. For example, food that is healthy for your feet. So for the cracked heels, the heels, okay, this is the root of the root. Okay, you can see it. This is the root of the root. Um, I think it was Hare Krishna that was killed by somebody sending, I think it was an arrow to his Achilles heel, which is above the heel. And that was a very meticulous way of killing someone because it is indeed a very tender point. Those things also relate to our genitalia and so on and so forth. If you want a juicy story, then I was so passionate about when I was learning about this, and I met somebody at the Dead Sea, and I was holding my feet like this, and I showed you do that too, and he was like starting to get turned on and so on. I was like, oh, I didn't intend for that, but this is something that can happen to you. So yeah, why not mention these things too? It's always good that you are able to do this in your own hands and to enjoy your feet, which is very much timely here, with Jupiter ingressing into Taurus, so the joy of our feet. But in relation to Saturn, it's more about the bone structure, the nails, the skin, and if you have cracked heels, then not only it's not only the creams and the shoe and how to walk, which is a lot. It's like you're learning the basics, the foundations, relearning them, and we all need to. It's also the type of fish that are good for this are actually those containing niacin, and I'm thankful to Dr. Berg who is exploring the food relations um, to our health. Okay, it doesn't mean that you will follow his prescription or diet, but it's good to know that niacin help for cracked heels, and you have that in a certain type of fish. So it's natural that certain fish that are good for us, that are nourishing for us, that are preferably well grown, will assist in the root of the root, which is the heels of the feet. By the way, cracked heels, in if it's severe, is also linked to what people call psychosis. And how do I explain that on in a holistic level, other than hey, that could be a correlation and that's it? My explanation is that being present in the heels, okay, tending to the heels and eating the nourishing food that the fish are also rich in the omegas that are good for our nervous system, and so you're also grounded. And when you are grounded, then you are in your body. You can have an astral encounter. You can learn energetic penetration. You can or energetic sex. You can learn share dreams, but it will necessitate volition from you. Okay, it's not something that's just gonna happen to you, but it's something that you initiate, that you agree to, that you learn how to do, and you can return safely to your sense of self being in the body. Okay? Of course, what we call psychosis is violation of this presence in the body. Whichever situation you are at regarding to being present in the body, there is always improvement, and it's never an issue of you're not good enough, you're not doing enough, you're to blame for your ailment. Never. Never. There are good reasons people have these dissociations. Usually there's some sort of traumas. Anyway, so that is for feet. Um, Another combination of Saturn and Pisces is water. So Saturn rules homeless people, and this is where I get to charity. Okay, this is no longer the Do It by Feet episode. This is actual practical advice that you can try, and and will help you to work with this energy, to ease this energy, to honor Saturn in Pisces in a way that can facilitate an easier transformation with this transit. And so, for Saturn rules homeless people, elderly people, people who have had certain hardships or delays in their lives, or people who deal with bureaucracy. And Pisces rules medicine, medications, doctors, it healers, and it rules oceans, water, feet, and so on and so forth. So things you can do, okay? If it is donation and you can donate, then you can donate a sum of money. I don't remember the number that is associated with Saturn. Um, and you can donate, and this is not exactly planetary charity. Planetary charity is the concept that I heard coined by Christopher Warnock, and there it is very specific. You do it on a Saturn day, a Saturn hour, and he promotes donating to a funds, which I disagree with. I believe in people, not funds, for a very good reason, especially when it comes to homeless people, to people who are being mistreated in the medical, like by healers and so on and so forth. Saturn in Pisces can denote also people who have misfortune in when they come to tend to their Saturn things. And so, my suggestion is to be more flexible on the day and the time that you do this. I mean, you can honor Saturn um, and be more intentional with your intent and with finding the person directly and giving the donation to the person directly. So, it can be the most accessible, Make sure that the homeless in your area have enough water. Okay, go out when you go out, take a couple of bottles of water with you and give these people. Okay, give these people water. Okay, because Pisces rules water and Saturn is lack of water. So if you donate water to people who are homeless, you're doing something good and you are honoring Saturn and you are a part of the solution rather than a part of the problem. Okay, so another way you can do this is if you can, if you know a person who, let's say, is homeless, let's say is in the street, or a person who is having debt or cannot pay for medical expenses, what you can try to do, if you can, is to cover their medical expenses. Um, and depending on where you live, okay, maybe they need a pedicure, maybe they need a tea treatment, which is also Saturn. Maybe just a haircut. You know, I saw this video on YouTube of a person who did hairstyling, and they just called in people who are homeless, and he would give them a haircut, and they would just feel a bit better and would feel more human in this condition. So that is one great thing to do. Neptune, as the ruler of Pisces, can also rule people who have had misfortunes in their lives, so loss, grieving, and so on and so forth. So that can also be, covering the new haircut or a new facial treatment or new pedicure for someone who is grieving and doesn't come out of the home. So tending to these people um, can be very assisting and a way to honor Saturn without your money going to directions that will not necessarily reach the people that you're trying to help. And what it can do, it's not that it will do you harm, okay? Because I do believe that the planets are benevolent being and they do see. Okay, if you set intention to take responsibility, if you set intention to grow, if you set intention to do good, you are going to be identified. It's just, and I'll give a concrete example. It's just so with me, okay? I wanted to, with my Saturn maturation, I wanted to take responsibility of my finances. So I tried to save money aside, and I said, even though it seems like the world is falling apart, I want to at least do certain steps that set the intent that I do intend to grow wealth. And then I gathered some money and I said, oh my God, I don't believe it. Maybe I can even buy some gold with it. It was not a lot. I don't even know if I can. And the first thing that I was shown, I went on YouTube. It was in no way promoted by the algorithm. I just went on YouTube and I saw a video about the way they mine gold from the mountains, and it was about a village where the people worshiped the mountains and tended to the ecosystem, and then miners came to mine the mountains for gold. So there was a person who decided that he's going to combat this, and they sent spies after him. And what he decided to do is that they sent spies after me. I'm going to spy after the spies. And then pay attention to this. In the movie, okay, in the documentary that shows this is supposed to be supportive of the people who were worshiping the mountains, right? And wanting the gold to be in the mountains because it's our minerals, it's our drinking water, it's our ecosystem. Okay, gold is very benefic. And they showed it in this movie the body of the person who spied after the spies that were sent after him. This activist shot 20 times. They show a photo of this person shot 20 times. Okay, you can think for yourself, is this respectful, not respectful? Why are we seeing this? Is it supposed to scare somebody? But this was what I've shown when I said I want to take financial responsibility and grow wealth, and take responsibility over my finances. And I said, whoa, maybe, oh my God, I did so good. Maybe I can invest in gold and this would be the right thing. And immediately I was shown, hey, look, this is gold. This is how they mine gold. And so Saturn also rules long-term investments and debt and the wealth of the generation. Okay. And in that respect, I'm telling you that if you try to donate to a fund, then although it's very, like you can set your cell phone to donate on the Saturn day, Saturn hour, and then you're good with the hour and everything, but you don't know that the fund actually helps the people. And how do the people even get to the fund? And there's a lot of corruption in that. And so what will happen is not that you will go corrupt. It's not that something bad will happen to you. Is that you will be shown what the atrocities, or you will run into a video, or you will run into a story of what of the atrocities, and I want to save you that. Okay, I want you to get directly to the people. Maybe I will succeed, maybe not. I want you to get directly to the people and make these donations, even if it's not Saturn day, Saturn hour. That you make the extra effort, that you're being extra diligent, that's supposed to compensate for that. Um, and this is also in the principle of honoring that which Saturn rules. So honoring Saturn by honoring that which Saturn rules, which is actually something that I learned from Adam Ellenbaugh. So he was doing Bhakti yoga, and in Bhakti yoga, basically, if you want to, let's say, I want to honor a deity. Okay, so this deity rules over certain people, certain type of people, professions, statuses. I don't know. Deity rules over women. Okay, so I want to honor the deity. I will honor the women around me, and in this way, I honor the deity. Okay, just maybe in the Christian principles of, well, I don't know. For me, I'm half Dutch, so Christianity is very wide. But the notion that if I am kind to the people, then I'm kind to God, because the people are a creation of God. And in that way, Saturn rules over people who had grievances, misfortunes, delays, losses. And it's very much in alignment with this fated losses of Neptune, and surrendering. Another thing that Saturn Pisces, it can be those people who live next to the water. Okay, so one thing is to provide water for the people. Then you may find these people next to the water. So go and visit places that are like port cities. Okay, um, and in those port cities, try to see if you can safely maintain your safety. It's not about sacrificing yourself or your life. It's not about endangering you, but in a way that is safe for you. Then you can try and see who are the people that may need assistance, and to the best of your ability, if you have something that you can assist, then you can assist that. If you can help people with bureaucracy regarding to health insurance, residence or permits, okay? Because Saturn Pisces can be refugees. Pisces rules faraway lands, and Saturn is refugees. And yeah, and Neptune, like Neptune can be refugees. So faraway lands, exile. If it's the 12th house for you, this might be especially good. Um, and to the best of your ability, see what can you do with paperwork. So people might lose their passports, people might not have passports, and and if there's any way that you can assist to the people directly, okay? If they need a lawyer, and there usually is some lawyer who received this pro bono. Okay, there always is in town a lawyer that deals with that, and it's even a must. Okay, it's a law in most countries that to have that you have representation, so you can help connecting the person needing help with, and that depends on how much time, how much you are able to give. Okay, if you don't feel like you are able to give anything to anyone, including like hardly feeding yourself, which can be okay, Saturn return. If it is Saturn return for you, you can feel very emotional, very drained. Then you can at least, if you can pray for these people and at least stand to your own feet, okay, in the best way you can, okay. So the best way you can, that is something that can be beneficial. Now, if this is a business, okay, so let's say your business has been existing for 28 years, and we have here a business in Israel that did that. It the same things govern this. So the business that did that, what they did is like, okay, we've been existing for 28 years. Now we're going to give 28% off these and that products, which was very beautiful. Um, uh, and definitely it's good marketing. If we want to connect it even more with Saturn, then perhaps we also want, if it is your business and it's 28 years or something like that, so you want to give donations of water, and again, to the people directly. not through the welfare. And this is very important because those Saturn Pisces, those are the people that are not helped by the welfare, or are abused or misused by the welfare, or are abused and misused in a medical situation. And so you want to do this for the people. Okay, you want to look for the people. You will find them in cities where there is, port cities. You will find them in central stations. If it is safe, you can go a couple of people during the night if you are armed. Give them food. Donate the fishes like sardines or salmons if you can, because those the type of fishes have these omega 3s that are very good for the nervous system, and especially if a person can still eat them during a situation where they are during misfortune or grieving or homeless or whatnot, which is sometimes difficult to eat. You're very stressed and very overwhelmed. But if they can eat, then you can provide them. And sometimes lemon helps if it's too oily, so just squeeze of lemon, and some veggies, so that they can have at least the type of food that they're usually not receiving. Um, and very important that, again, you go directly to the people. This is the most important, basically. Okay, you can pray for these people, you can go directly to the people. And again, it's not that something bad will happen to you, and it's not even that it won't be beneficial. Okay, it can benefit you, but because Saturn is going to see, and Pisces is going to see that you're trying to do good, so they're going to help you. And how will they help you? Saturn rules teaching and information, so they're going to teach you about crazy misfortunes that can be very triggering, especially when you have Saturn in Pisces. Okay, I want to save you the crap. It's like, save the crap and let's do already get to where can we do different? Where can we interfere? Um, so another form of help that you can do is people who are hurt by the medical system. Okay, so neglected or hurt by the medical system, if they need to litigate. And one thing I love, that I adopt from Christopher Warnock. Christopher Warnock is a magician, but is also astrologer, and he's also a civil attorney. So he and what the way he mentions litigation, he said, when we sue, he was talking about landlord. When we sue landlords, it's not that we come to revenge. It's not that we come to start a war. It's just this usually is the only way to get their attention, and we just want to get justice done. We just want to get fairness done, so that we can proceed. And that in that notion, when a person has gone through being hurt by the medical system, they're usually neglected, and it usually takes a great amount of money to help them. So litigation in this case is not revenge, is not avenging anyone. It's just the only way to get attention, so that this person can live in ease, and so that this person can receive, whether it's compensation or adjustment to their current situation. um, because the money is needed. Okay, it's not revenge, it's the money is needed. Of course, the validation is needed, and that can be another way. Advocating, if you know, like non-dual experiences, which is also Piscean. So advocating for people who have been hurt by the medical system or by appraisals. In conventional medicine, we have the problem of misdiagnosis and categorizing people as crazy and hallucinating, when they are actually trying to tell you a story that is happened in reality, but they can't speak because they're afraid to die. Okay, they went through certain violence and so on, and the story is real. So it doesn't help to ignore psychotic content or give them beta blockers. They will just die or be aggressive, or something will happen to the body until they fall apart. And then in more shamanistic approach, there can be the tendency of people, because there is connection to the way we think, what happened to us in life, and the way the ailments in the body, then there can be misinterpretation of these correlations, as the person was thinking so and so, so what happened to them was so and so. Yes, but you forgot that the person was thinking so and so for a very good reason. Okay, and that reason is valid, and so nobody is to blame for the ailments that they have. That being said, if we find a point of interference and a point where we can make a change, we want to calibrate on this point. And this is something that only the patient can validate. Even if you are a practitioner, nobody knows the patient better than the patient. You might think, oh, this is simple. You just need to do this, you just need to do that. Or maybe you're a social worker. Oh, you just need to maybe clean a small thing every day, and it looks very reasonable. But you don't know that you are here, and the person who is going through this, that may even have Saturn return in Pisces, this thing looks like this thing. Okay, it looks so big, and it experienced as so big, and the ability to do even the tiny bit is not even there. Okay, for reasons that like it's better to accept it as it is and not challenge this notion, rather than challenge this notion and learn by experience, because they are then are going to be either dying or killing themselves. So they will die because people do kill themselves when they are that invalidated and unseen, or they're going to be lashing at you in a way that you will experience some of what they experienced. Okay, that is where you don't want to go. It's very bad for both parties when this happens. So Saturn in Pisces, another form of Saturn in Pisces. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And those are easy tips and practical tips. Okay, you don't have to go. You don't have to travel to Rotterdam and find a drunken sailor and say, oh, here I can help you to whatnot. And you definitely don't want to be paternalistic. Okay, but what you can do is fill up a couple of bottles of water, see people around you, put it there. If you have a couple extra bottles, then you can put it in places like the central station, like the train, people that are in between houses. Would they see it and they're in a situation that are like they're not like they'll take the chance and they'll try and drink it, then that is good. To have a bottle of water that is clear, at least when you leave it there, and try to make sure that the water is in good quality, that the bottles are new if you can. Okay, some to the best. That is one very simple way. If you have some food, some fishes, some veggies, maybe something sweet like a date or something like that, not necessarily sugary, that, but also tiny chocolate can be okay. Then you can give them. Um, must it be Saturn hour? Must it be this? Well, you can. What I well, Saturn cares about diligence and it does care about timing, but it also cares about identity and accuracy. If you're doing the accurate thing, my prediction is that you're going to be okay with doing that and not necessarily that being in Saturn day, Saturn hour. Okay? You're still doing something right for the people of Saturn. Okay? Not everything is open. If you're in Israel, nothing is open on a Saturday. Okay, you're not like unless you have a car, then nothing is open on a Saturday. Um, if it's Saturn hour, Jupiter day, which rules Pisces, then yes, you can do it on a Thursday in Saturn hour. I think it's way too crazy. Plus, I also think that the universe will arrange it for that to be Saturn related in somehow. Okay, it's very likely so. So Saturn also rules depth. If you can help people who are gathering with depth, and you see that what they need is actually just the resolution of the depth. So it's not like they need um, particular medical assistance, or they're missing food, or they're missing water. So if the only burden on their psyche is like, I have this debt, maybe you can make contribution to close this debt if you are debt free. Okay, um, that is that is something that is nice, that gives a person kind of a good feel. um, and those and I don't mean the people who come and trick. Oh, because Saturn Pisces can also be people, especially over social media. Okay, with sextile to Mercury, you know those people who turn to you and like, oh, I need this for this medication, for this treatment, for this that, and they do this everywhere, and you don't know if they are real or fake or scam or whatnot. Then this is why it's good for you to go and to see the people. Um, and so when you are intentionally coming to help people, then you are seeking out the people, then it's not impossible that somebody will turn to you or that somebody will come to you. um, and perhaps you can help with resources. Okay, that can be the case. It's very important never to shame, judge, play God, play the judge, think that you know better, think that this is probably a scam because, and I can give you a concrete example. When I was in between two houses, I'm aromatherapist and I'm also healing from CPTSD. Essential oils helped me to calm down. So when somebody asked me, what do I need? I said vitamins and these essential oils. So, because I get food at the shelter, so I didn't ask for food. And of course, they cannot provide me for rent, so I wouldn't even ask. So I ask for vitamins so that I can nourish myself, and I ask for essential oil. And because I was not willing to be trafficked to whatnot into Portugal by some creep, somebody spread the rumor that I'm a scammer in the group of Israelis in Netherlands, which of course, like I could litigate, but then you know that these people are always associated with organized crime. And the person who did like was someone who was doing real estate, and you know real estate is 99.99999999999% scam in the Netherlands. It's very difficult to find housing. I'm living in Israel, not because we didn't want to try to spend some time also in my fatherland, but because it's nearly impossible to find housing that is fair and that is actually real and not arranged into traffic you in the Netherlands. So this is a huge problem. And so the person could see that, oh, they ask for these expensive vitamins or they ask for these essential oils, and this person is probably a scammer. While the truth was that I had a shelter, I had food, somebody was helping me with like socks and things, and I didn't want to bother people with something that I don't really need. And I also wanted to make sure that I maintain my sanity in this situation. I know that essential oils help with that. I know that nourishing myself with the right vitamins assists in that, and I knew more or less what I was missing, so I was trying to be the most accurate I can. And somebody told me, please do a list of everything that you need. So I made a list like a good girl, and then they spread rumors that I'm a scammer. So never do this. You don't know the story of the person, you don't know what's going on, and you know they can litigate you. Okay, if I will litigate, it was not to clear my name, but because I know that these people are organized crime, and then if it will ever be within my power to take them down, then of course I will do that, whether it's with litigation or other means, because the person who tries to traffic you, and when you say no, okay, I want to make sure that if I enter a workplace, that it nourishes my health, that it won't hurt my health again, and because and if you say no, and then they say you're a scammer, then you know it's like you date someone, a man, a woman, and you say, okay, I don't think this can work for me, but I really appreciate your kindness. And this person now says that you are like this, and you are like that, and you are like that, and you're like that, because you didn't agree to sleep with them. Then you know this was not a good partner to begin with, and okay, it's not just that you don't fit each other, but that they're actually scammers and they're actually a part of some organized crime or whatnot, or not organized crime. And so this is very, very important when Saturn in Pisces. Don't think you know better. You never know what's going to be. Yes, there can be people who say, oh, I'm poor, I'm this, I'm that, and they're actually not. It can be, okay? But there can also be people where you think, oh, this person is probably a scammer. They look too good to be homeless. They speak too well to be poor. They have so many, you don't know anything. Okay, perhaps they escaped some violent family that was upper class and was pedophile and was using them as, sex slave for the family, so they have the good manners and they look good and they're well oriented and they speak with clarity if the sexual harassment didn't hurt their speech abilities. And you don't know, and you think, oh, this is a scammer, they look posh, they look upper class, and you don't know anything. So this is what you want to absolutely avoid doing. Okay, you could be right. Wait, but just in the case that you could be wrong, not only this will be karma for you because it's Saturn return, so in 28 years this person becomes rich, becomes this, becomes that, and then they remember you. It's not that they're going to kill you or something like that, but they're definitely going to bring this up. They're definitely going to make sure that you know that you did a mistake, which is a good thing to do. Okay, they don't have to hurt you, they don't have to litigate you, but they definitely will remind you that 28 years after, it's like, do you remember me? Okay, do you remember me? That you thought I'm a scammer, that you thought I'm a this, but did you know what I ran away from? But did you know what I was dealing? Okay, you don't want to do that. They will remember this until after the death. So avoid. This is clearly avoid. Um, do go to the people. Can it be that you will help a person and it was a scam? Yes, it can. And so you need to take that, you need to take that into account. It's also important that your giving will be not sacrifice that you cannot withstand. Okay, the sacrifice of your time or the sacrifice of your wealth, not to the point where you cannot make a living. Okay, not to take from your well-being and give to another, but if you have extra, if you have access, then it is good to make donation. How do you know? Then to your own feet, to your own foundation, feed yourself well, begin to see improvement in you, and then you will be able to give charity. Then you will be able to give water. Then you will be able to notice. Notice I'm not doing this video as Saturn ingressed into Pisces, because with Saturn ingressed into Pisces, I said I can make predictions, but I'm not feeling free to give you tips about Saturn returning Pisces because my Saturn is in Scorpio, and I don't have Saturn return in Pisces, nor do I have Saturn maturation or Saturn square in Pisces, and so I don't know the energy. What I did was stand into my feet. I took debt, actually, not big debt, to buy myself shoes. Now I'm almost finishing this debt this month. And to buy like nice shoes, which eventually the shape of the toes was not good for me. But I spent this with honoring of Saturn, like I'm going to get debt to buy something for my feet, and I'm going to tend to my feet and try things and improve upon the structure of my feet, the skin of my feet, my nail structure. And now we are in May. Okay, so March, May. Okay, so 3 months later, almost 3 months later, do I get the understanding of what I can give? That yes, I can give water to the homeless people. That yes, I can tell you where to find the people and not think that you can, just do it like, oh, well, Saturn Day, Saturn Hour, there's this fund for the homeless. Let's donate them, and they might be cooperating with child enslavement, child sex trafficking through the welfare, which happens globally, and like all kind of dark things. And then it's not that you will get hurt; it's just that you will be shown what's going on. Um, until you do, like, because Saturn is like, you're gonna do that until you're doing it correctly. So diligence is needed. And so for me, I prefer that, even though Saturn rules time, I prefer the diligence as to make sure you reach the people, that your contribution is for the people and is the right direction, rather than the time and the hour. And the time and the hour will probably align. Okay, I wanted to do this video. I didn't know what day and hour. I know it was Saturn day. I didn't know the hour is Saturn. I didn't know the ascendant is Mercury, and the moon is in Mercury sign, and Mercury here is sextiling Saturn, and so I have Saturn through Mercury because the moon is void, of course, but I can still give you this video when the ascendant is in Mercury. Okay, now we're about to move to the ascendant Venus. Um, that is having a square separating from very wide square with Jupiter. So so I first did for my own feet, and then the knowledge came to me, and then I can transfer it to you. And now, then to your feet first. Um, yeah, I think you probably won't get into trouble if you have some couple of water bottles and some, canned sardines, and some fresh fruits or fresh veggies, and give to people who are homeless. If you want to give money, then you can give money. Um, so that can be quite productive. Um, yeah, and this is pretty much so. Now, Saturn also rules minerals, rocks, crystals. Um, in this particular thing, I'm not sure what to tell you. Should you use a crystal? Perhaps. Um, uh, there is an issue with crystals currently, the mining of crystals. So if I don't know for sure how to yes, then all I can do is raise awareness. I don't want you to stop buying crystals if you're buying, because that means that the children who are in those mines might be human trafficked, and they might suffer even more, even though already they die in the working conditions. So I don't want to be patronizing and play it like I know what to do, but I also do want to raise awareness that there is an issue with crystals, that it's not ethically sourced, but you sometimes do want to buy it because you don't want his children to be in some other place. What crystal to buy for Saturn in Pisces, I can't tell you. Like, really, I can't tell you. It's beyond me. That because it's so ingrained with astrological remediation. This is not on the spot on astrological remediation. This is a very general thing that is very basic and is probably going to work for you. Now, if you're aiming for the planetary charity, the way Christopher Warnock talks about this, then what you need to know is the number that Saturn rules. I think it is 7. Some people also say 8, but I think it is 7. It's on Christopher Warnock's website. And then you do need the hour and the time. But also there's, if the number is 7, then you will give, let's say, $7 and 7 times. Okay, and then you have to be committing, and it's preferred that you do the whole thing if you can, and if you cannot do the whole 7 times, then it's preferred that you won't try planetary charity, as per Christopher Warnock. Okay, so what I'm offering is very, very distinct from that. It's more intuitive, from the school of thought of Nicola Stoyanovich, who talked about astrological remediation in a different way. We take something Saturn is ruled by, and we work with this energy. Yeah, so the more traditional have this number, this date, this, and it's not wrong. Okay, the way they modernize this is, did you give to a fund, and in my opinion, I want you to give to the people. I want you to be traditional about giving to the people, not the fund, so that we'll get to the people, rather than to make sure you have the right thing in the right time. Believe me, that, look at this video. Saturn day, Saturn hour. The moon is void, of course, but it is in Mercury. And what is Saturn a sextile in Mercury? Where was the ascendant Mercury? Okay. And what talisman am I supposed to get tomorrow? Mercury related. So you know, it all aligns. You just make sure that you do the right thing, and then the stars will probably align themselves. You will probably have delays if it is not the right time, and you will probably see that this goes smooth like butter when it actually is what you're supposed to do. um, so don't, for as per me, don't worry about the timing. It will align itself. Worry about doing the right thing with the right, like in the right time, with the right people. um, and and this is a more intuitive way of doing. Uh, um, it's not a planetary charity, because this is more relating to, but it is a more way, intuitive way of honoring the planets and getting results, because you are honoring the things that are ruled by Saturn, because you are giving things that are relevant for the type of lacks that Saturn creates. Okay. And if it is about medication, usually requires prescription, especially in Europe. So But if it's like first aid kit, then you can donate first aid kits. Those things can also be useful. That was it. And I hope I was helpful. If you have Sadasati, which means you have a moon in Pisces and now Saturn is going over it, I made a particular video for Sadasati and Saturn going over the moon. Unfortunately, it's highly unlikely that you will run into this because the essential meaning of Sadasati is that usually you have less available resources through your emotional safety, and you have to find it within yourself when nobody is there for help. So it's highly unlikely that you will run into this episode during Sadasati, even if you are one of the many friends that I know that have Sadasati right now, and I send you my blessings if that is the case. But it's just the essence of Sadasati that you're like, this is your time that you're going at it alone, and like probably if by the time it ends you'll see my video and you can be, oh, I actually did just what Shirley said. It's just that I found it within myself, and that can give you a certain sort of emotional resilience to know that you can carry, you can pull it through yourself. If by chance you do run into it, and this is like your only one of your only resources that you have, then you can watch my Sadasati video and what I did for Saturn that was opposing my moon in Cancer when Saturn was in Capricorn, and how that can and how to do that for you. I think I offer a certain reading there. Um, I don't think that it's still relevant. Like, I don't think I can still offer you this reading, but the information in the video is very relevant. So have a peaceful Saturn day, and thankful for the spirits of Saturn, the spirit of Mercury, the spirit of the moon, and we are only 5 minutes away from the spirit of Jupiter, which I didn't even call in, as Jupiter rules Pisces, or maybe I did. And so be very thankful for that. Um, mm, 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 mm. So Saturn in Jupiter sign, one thing that can happen is that Jupiter is benefic. Now Jupiter is in Taurus. If you're trying to tend to your feet and eat the right food for you, Jupiter in Pisces might be able to assist that. It is squaring Pluto and Mars right now, but it will not be that like that forever. So Jupiter might be able to assist you in getting the food, in getting the abundance, in getting the fishes that are nourishing for your nervous system, and getting the crops that are nourishing for your nervous system. Um, if Saturn rules like the bone structure and so on. So Jupiter can enhance that in Taurus. It can make it pleasurable for you to treat your feet, and even orgasmic. Okay, so if you have like, you know, hallux vagus like me, and you have this feet gym that you have to do, or toe gym that you have to do, you can it can actually be sensual, orgasmic, releasing, and pleasurable, and so that can help you do this every day, because it's not something that you like. Jupiter can make the Saturn hurdles be something that you enjoy doing. Okay, it can make what you need to do to something that you actually want to do, and this is the potential. Okay, it's the flip side. Okay, Saturn creates contraction, but it is in the sign of expansion, so there can be expansion in relation to the contraction, to the things that Saturn rule. So there can be an issue where something to do with your feet, it magnifies to the point that you have to treat it. But if you listen to this video now, then you know already where to look, and you know, okay, the space between the toes, the nails are not, you know, penetrating where they shouldn't be. Toe gym, okay, kind of like hold your toes in the yoga posture where you have a finger, you know, kind of between every toe, and start playing with the toes, and keep those toes aligned. That can be good structure, but be very cautious, very tender, especially if you're doing this holistically. If you've never done this before, things are gonna come up from your childhood memories. So, okay, it's not to scare you, but to make sure that you know what you're heading into, so that your sovereignty is preserved throughout the process. and is supported throughout the process from the foundation. And so Jupiter can give you more access to the things that you need to heal the bones of your feet, more access to knowledge, more access to this, more access to the Saturn teaching, and more ease in tending to Saturn itself. So yeah, oh, of course, if you're dealing with addiction or alcohol addiction, that can be a time where you have the potential to sober up, and you can set intention for that. And if you do this, donating water for the homeless or stuff like that can give a sense of connection that is within your boundaries, where you are feeling safe. Okay, you might not want to do it right where you live. You might, unless it is third house for you. But you want to do it a bit, a couple of streets, or to travel, the subway, and then do that so that you can have a safe space. You're not worried about yourself. Necessarily, there probably shouldn't be any reasons. Like, homeless people are not more dangerous than any other people, but because people can be people, then you also want to not throw caution to the wind, because you're dealing with people. Don't idealize, don't devalue. So, yeah. I'm kind of waiting for it to turn into Jupiter hour to see if I have some insight to give you from Jupiter. So, this one more minute. And we already began to have the ascendant in Libra, which is ruled by Venus, that is on my moon. So Venus is on Sirius today. She's squaring. What is she squaring there? She's squaring. Oh, she's applying to square Chiron. You can look up some reflexology, if you, and just the maps of the feet that show you this is your anus, this is your lungs, this is your heart. Why did I talk about the anus? Why did I talk about this? Because it's Jupiter hour and it's squaring Pluto and Mars. So it's like, yeah, this is your anus. I knew it. It's changing now to Jupiter hour. Because and the ascendant went to Venus, and Venus is ruling Taurus, and Jupiter has ingressed into Taurus, and so Jupiter is squaring. Yes, I'm stupid like that. Jupiter is squaring Mars in the anaretic degree of Cancer, so Mars excretion. Mars is the traditional ruler of anuses, and Pluto is the modern one. So Jupiter squares both, so it's like, okay, those teaching. Um, so you have these, this is your eyes, this is your neck, this is your this, and then you can play with it like a little child, Mercury, and kind of explore it. But and then it's Jupiter hour. But then, like I said, don't throw caution to the wind. You're touching your feet, you're touching your entire body. Okay, you're touching your neck, you're touching your hair, you're touching your pineal gland, you're touching your brain, you're touching your lungs, you're touching your everything, and every memory, that emotion that stores there can be released. It's not for nothing that people learn reflexology holistically, so they're also able to listen to you and to validate you if they are good practitioners. It can also mean that you might go to a reflexologist. So yeah. Um, so this is now the Jupiter hour of this, which is just a happy hour. And yeah, I don't have anything more to say. Um, Hope this helps. Anything more? Well, Jupiter does rule sweet things. It rules dates. So dates can be very useful to give to people if they eat them. Some people don't like dates, but if they do, it's very nourishing, and it's the time, and also how do you call this? When you eat the date, there's the meat of the date, and then there is this the seed basically. And when people are in the desert, they used to chew on this seed, and that would help them against thirst. So giving dates to people can, and it also contains minerals. So if there is lack of water, then you want to have dates. Make sure you have dates at home, uh, and that is another thing that you can donate. What else? Jupiter rules, well, lung related issues, um, radiation like the cell phone, yeah. So And of course, addiction. So addiction can be also to cell phone, and then you're exposed to radiation, like me. Um, oh, crystals like shungite help with blocking radiation, and they also purify the water. So shungite is a crystal that helps purifying the water. So you might want to get people shungite, or give them shungite and explain them what to do with that, or do it, put it in your own water if you don't have any distiller or something that you can filter the water. Um, that might be useful. And shungite helps to block the radiation. It helps to absorb the radiation from cell. I need to get one for my cell phone, so you might want to do that. You see, Jupiter gave me these ideas. Jupiter now gave me ideas to do with Saturn, more ideas. It expands on what to do Saturn. So it's like, yes, we have a crystal, it's shungite. It helps both with water, it helps both with radiations from cell phones and so on and so forth. You can give people cell phones, okay, means of communication, especially during this sextile. So means of communication, means of transportation, okay, helping people with means of transportation. This is again, okay, it's helping people who are in those situations, in between houses, or evicted, or dealing with like medical conditions. So you want to help them with what is public transportation, so they don't have to drive black and be exposed to being bullied for that. um, and yeah, or okay, access to bathroom, because sometimes bathroom is difficult, to shower, okay, access to shower, it can be money to shower. um, so that's that, and I hope this is helpful. Bye bye.